We went to Flagstaff over the weekend with my girlfriend, and I happened to go up to the Grand Canyon, and I took some photos up there. We were I didn't use my big camera for most of my stuff. I just used my iPhone. But I did pull it out for doing some sunsets, and I wanted to see if I could get some star photos. So how that worked out wasn't too bad. I've got a Canon, I think it's an R8 mirrorless digital camera, and I had a 10 millimeter prime wide angle, and I think it's like a f2, f2.8 or something like that. I'd have to go pull it out of the bag. I'm not going to do that right now. It might be on one of my last videos actually. But I was able to do some editing. It says the camera is not fully supported. Whatever. Okay. I mean, it works fine. It's kind of ugly how this works, but anyway, I got a sunset photo. This is kind of like Lightroom. It puts a little strip down at the bottom. Because it's a manual camera, it's not electronic, so therefore the some of the data is not captured. It does know it's a 1/200th of a second at 1600 ISO. This is right around sundown or right a little before. I grabbed this one a little after. So we had this perfect spot, well, at least for me, set up where I was going to get some pictures, and nobody was in the way, and there was hardly anybody there because we were there an hour before sunset. And of course, a crap ton of people showed up. And this family, for some reason, saw me sitting on the bench across the sidewalk, pointing at the sun with my big lens, and naturally they decided they wanted to go sit down right in front of me for some dumb reason. I mean, there was a nice rock outcropping, so I had two choices. Either I could move, or get mad about it, or whatever, or hey, they're in the way, they're getting their picture taken. So that's how I do it. And actually, it kind of adds some interest to the photo, so I don't care that much. Had some kids, had the dad, and here's the sun going down. They were there probably 20 minutes before I was taking pictures. But I had this nice branch. I was having the sun coming down over the top, and I was just going to take a photo of it. But you know what? I don't mind this. I actually like it. My girlfriend was starting to get a little weird or annoyed by it, and I was like, hey, let them sit there. I'll take their picture. I have no idea who they are. They're just tourists like the rest of us. Let's see, what else did I get? Oh, and after sundown, some lady was doing some Instagram selfies or video or something or other where she was sitting there and just kind of looking out over the canyon, getting pictures of herself, and, well, again, she's in my way, so guess we got a picture taken. I think she noticed, but whatever. After the sun goes down, I had swapped out my 10 millimeter for some of these, and this is 1/15th of a second. I was trying to get some stars, and Venus came out. It was starting to come out. Some of the stars were poking out, so it wasn't doing too bad, but this glow felt like it was taking forever to get rid of it or to go away. And yeah, it takes over an hour, but it's pretty. And here, just a little bit later, we had sun was down. I overexposed it 8 seconds on this one at 200 ISO, and stars were starting to come out. Of course, that orange twilight overexposed, and this orange stuff here at the bottom was actually from a street light that was in the parking lot behind us. This was taken at the Grand Canyon South Rim at the Yavapai Geology Museum. The building is just right to our right. And here we are, almost fully dark. I'm just kind of pointing out, of course, I'm getting this orange glow from the street lamps, but I can still see the canyon. So this is pretty. I like this. Had one of these little telescopes that you could go look at something down there. And of course, my friend told me the Milky Way was going to be out, so I was like, okay, I've got to stay later and get some of these pictures. And naturally, it started popping out. The Geology Museum is sitting right over here, up the trail. Actually, this is the bench I was sitting on, right over here. For the one of these two benches was for the one. Yeah, I think it was this bench because this is that scraggly tree I was taking pictures through. And of course, I was getting some. It's just starting to get darker and darker, and I was getting some nice Milky Way. It was just kind of rising. It was going. The north is to my left. This is looking east mostly. And then this is looking west. Venus is starting to set. We still have some glow down on the horizon. We're starting to see a lot of satellites and stuff, maybe airplanes, starting to streak through the sky. And as I was taking pictures, I noticed that the edge of the twilight was turning kind of a purple. We had this green tint over here, and then for some reason I was just picking up a purple on my viewfinder, and I couldn't figure out why. It's more obvious here, but this is the northern lights. There was an aurora borealis that was starting to come up on, this is Friday, on July 2nd? No, July 3rd. It was the night before, we did all the stuff in Flagstaff. So, yeah, this was Friday, July 3rd. I'm taking 30-second photos with 1600 ISO. This is not visible to the naked eye, or at least not really. Still got a little bit of a blue tint in the sky, a little bit of light. There's some sort of thing. I think there's an airplane down here in the corner. This is probably a satellite. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't really bother to figure it out, but I was trying to wait for those to go away. But as I kept taking pictures of purple, it just started getting brighter and brighter as the sky got darker. And so I thought, well, that's cool. I'm going to get a picture of the Geology Museum. Here's the Milky Way. Here's some really nice purple. Again, I don't think I realized it was actually the aurora at this point, but I just kept taking pictures and it just kept popping up, and it was like, okay, this is something going on here. And at that point, I think I'd kind of figured it out, so I was taking more photos. And again, I was pointing straight east on this, or straight north on this one. I think the northern, the North Star's up in here somewhere. There's so many stars popping out. I think it was a little higher actually. And then I walked around the other side of the building, to the east side of the building, and this is where you can kind of see up canyon. It's really hard to see here because it's like pitch black. In fact, it was so dark you couldn't see it. In fact, I think I've got some pixels here. Whatever. Alright. Oops, it is... Oh, that's Darktable doing its thing. We're starting to see some purple pillars, getting some orange glow down here. It was pretty much pitch black at this point. We got the Milky Way coming up across here. And I was starting to get some pictures I really liked. And after... I was out here for about an hour. And then it started really popping. Started getting some really bright pillars coming up. I could barely see them with my eyes. So I know you all see some of these bright northern lights pictures that we take from down south sometimes, and everything's super pink and purple, a little bit of blue, and it actually doesn't look like that with your eyes. It looks more like a faint light pollution. It's kind of white, and if you're kind of in the peripheral of your vision, you can just kind of see these little strands. And if you notice, after a minute, they kind of move. This isn't like being in Alaska or up in Michigan or something. This is Arizona's what it is. But once in a while, we get these bright displays. This is probably one of my favorite pictures. So we got the pink, and we got these blue streaks coming up through here, very faint. Again, could not see this at all with my eyes. I mean, it kind of could. I could see it was glowing. It was kind of bright. There's no cities up here, so I mean, Vegas is way to the northwest of here. This is straight north. There's no big cities north of the Grand Canyon. So I stayed out here for about an hour, just kind of hung out. I mean, we had to drive back to Flagstaff, and that's an 80-mile drive from the Grand Canyon, and I didn't want to stay all night. And the moon hadn't come up yet, so the moon was supposed to rise at 10:22. And so this was the dark spot before the moon. I kind of wanted to wait till the moon came up. I was hoping it would illuminate the canyon a little bit, but I think it would have washed this out. And then near the end, I took a series of about 5 or 10 pictures. This is facing more southeast a little bit, east to southeast, and I wanted to get the Milky Way, and I got a really pretty picture. I got quite a few of them with more of these stupid streaks in them from the satellites. Thanks Elon Musk or whoever you're putting all these up there. It's kind of hard to take pictures now. So I was just kind of waiting for them to drift out of view, but once in a while you still get one on the edge. But I like this picture. You can see all the stars. It's a lot of them. And up at the Grand Canyon, it's super dark. So Darktable's kind of interesting. It's got something called the Lighttable where you can kind of import your photos similar to Lightroom. So you can get a collection. Like, so here's, you can just change your collections, and if you go to the darkroom, you can edit individual photos, and it's got all these settings on the right where you can adjust the color calibration, that's the white balance, and the exposure. You can make them brighter and darker, do some contrast. There's all these tabs with all this stuff. Half of this I have no idea what it does. Shadows and highlights, of course, kind of brings up some of the shadows, and you can crop it if you want to do some negatives. Oops. There it goes. There, I made a negative of it. Could be useful, I guess. There's some equalizers and curve and colors, and I kind of picked some up. I kind of basically edited some of the contrast, made it a little bit stronger. There's a couple of these RGBs that kind of help bring out some of the color a little bit. I do like Velvia sometimes. It kind of brings a little more color in. There it is. It's one more black and white. So it's brought some yellow up into here. Actually, I really like that. I might leave it alone. And I like doing that one for daytime pictures. Sharpen, I usually bring it up a little bit to about a 3. There's a bunch of other stuff you can do here. And more stuff. You can do vignetting around the edges. You can put a watermark on it. Low light vision, I wonder what that does. Oh, a little more black and white. There's some effects you can do. You can blur things. It's got a bunch of stuff in here. Stuff I probably normally wouldn't even bother to mess with. So yeah, that's Darktable. I don't know what this other is. I guess you can do a slideshow. Oh, that's cool. Oh, neat. Okay. Alright. For doing presentations. Oh, use the arrows. There we go. It's not quite as intuitive as Lightroom, but it's doing the job. I mean, I can copy, like once I get a setting on a photo, if I've got like 5 or 6 more photos that are similar, I can do a copy and paste of the settings from the previous photo, just like Lightroom. So, honestly, I don't hate it. So, okay, well I'm just going to probably call it here. I'll probably procrastinate another 5 or 6 months maybe. So, I don't know, I'm just trying to get this figured out. So alright, well, thanks for listening if you made it this long.